Hi everybody, this is Father Warner D'Souza from St. Jude Church, Malad East, and today we are Wednesday of the fourth week in Advent. Our text is from Luke chapter 1 verses 57 to 66. God commanded both Abraham and Moses to circumcise male babies when they were 8 days old. We read this in Genesis chapter 17 verses 9 to 14 and Leviticus chapter 12 verse 3. John's circumcision, while routine, nevertheless marks Zechariah and Elizabeth as faithful in their observance of Jewish law. That is to be expected, of course, given that Zechariah is a priest. In the culture of the Israelites, the name of a child was very significant. God sometimes changed the name of a person, such as the changing of the name of Abram to Abraham, of Sarai to Sarah, and of Jacob to Israel. At other times, God gave the name of the child before birth. Such is the case with both Jesus and John. The drama of our text has to do with a family argument over the name which was to be given to the child of Zechariah and Elizabeth. Names, as I said, were important in that culture and were supposed to embody something of the importance or character of the person, or to make some sort of statement, or to express some sort of faith. The naming of a child would normally be a parental function, but these neighbors and relatives tried to influence this naming to honor Zechariah by naming the child after him. The question which we must bear in mind as we approach our study of this passage is, why would Luke bother to include the account of a family argument over the name of a child? There are two theories. The naming of the son after his father implied that this child would walk in the steps of his father, that he would carry on the father's name and thus his work as well. Had John been named Little Zach, he would have been expected to grow up as a priest just like his father. He would thus have gone about with his father as he carried out his priestly duties, learning how to do things just like his daddy did them. To be named by any other name would have implied just the opposite. John would not follow in his father's steps. Yet there are others who argue that it would be unusual to name a son after his father because sons are usually known by their given names plus son of their father's name, such as in Simon, son of Jonah, as we read in Matthew chapter 16 verse 17. If Elizabeth were to name the baby Zechariah, he would be known as Zechariah, son of Zechariah, and very awkward phrasing. These neighbors and relatives are kind of willing to ignore that problem in order to just honor Zechariah, probably out of their pity at his muteness. They motion to Zechariah as if he is deaf as well as mute. We have no evidence that he is deaf aside from this verse. People often assume that a mute person cannot hear, which is not often but the case. That seems to be what is happening here. One of the first and strongest impressions we gain from these verses is the sense of prominence of Elizabeth and of her determination for her son to be named John rather than Zechariah. Her actions may well have been considered inappropriate by those who observed her. Thus, for Elizabeth to be outspoken and insistent may have shocked them as totally out of place, for she was a woman and women were not allowed much of their thoughts. Nevertheless, Elizabeth did so, and Luke strongly implies that she was both godly and right in doing so. The neighbors and relatives who attended the circumcision had their well-worn expectations about the child's name, but they had to learn that it is God who chooses the name and the destiny of this child. Perhaps with every child, God moves the world in a new direction. Zechariah has been dumb for almost 9 months, but now he can speak, and his first words are a song of praise. Everyone recognized that John was going to be an exceptional child. It is clear that Zechariah understands that his son will be the forerunner of the Messiah. He rejoices because the coming of the Messiah is now very close. Today, I want you to think about your own name and thank the Lord for your name, which is written on the palm of His hands. God bless you as we draw very gradually to a close this Advent season.